Chapter 19, Revelation. "You're not going to say she looked like me, are you?" said Susan to John later that evening in Herbert Street. "No, she didn't. This is going to sound silly, but I really felt that I knew her. I don't mean someone like her, I mean Abigail herself. Ever since I first saw her skeleton I felt something, some kind of connection. I put it down to my imagination and my strong emotions after meeting you. Anyway, let me finish telling you what else happened. The meeting finished very soon after the unveiling, and all the staff shuffled off back to their desks. I was still sitting in my chair, mesmerised by the painting, but woke out of my daydream because I heard the editor close his door. "Sorry, I was miles away," I said, and got up to leave as well. "No, you'd better sit down," he said, and he and Dr. Salter and Ben pulled up some chairs and sat opposite me. "Wait a minute," I said. "This is like the bit when the consultant has some bad news." No, said Ben. "It's a bit unbelievable and extremely interesting, but there's nothing bad about it." Dr. Salter produced a printout of an email. "Are you sitting comfortably?" He obviously saw that I wasn't, and that I was actually getting a bit irritated, so he came straight out with it. "We've been in touch with various record offices in New Jersey, and can say with absolute certainty that you are related, albeit distantly, with both Snook and Abigail. You are in fact the great-great-great-great-grandson of Charles Shepherd." "I don't believe you," I said, looking from one to another as they all grinned back at me like Cheshire cats. "Yes, I do. You wouldn't shoot me a line like that." "Yes, it's true," said the doctor. "Of course there are a great many other young men and women who are alive and descendants of Charles Shepherd. Your DNA must be pretty much watered down, but I'm sure it could be proved with the latest technology. It's like being 15th in line to the throne, so I don't suppose you're likely to inherit large parts of New Jersey." "Then I remembered who the painting reminded me of," said John to Susan, opening up his laptop computer. "Just a minute, here she is." They were looking at a photograph of a painting in an oval frame, a picture of a young woman in semi-profile, but looking to her left. "Now compare her with this picture I took of Abigail's painting this morning. Now if I just flip the image over so they are both facing the same way." "Oh my God, it's her! Who is she?" "She was my great-great-grandmother. I knew a bit about her already, and my great-great-grandfather, who was Herbert George Street. Lots of male streets had Herbert in their name somewhere. My father was Michael John Herbert Street. Never mind all that. My great-great-grandmother's maiden name was Shepherd, Emily Shepherd. She ran away from her wealthy New Jersey family and lived on her own in Liverpool, a bold thing for a young woman to do in those days, and she found employment as a secretary with great-great-grandfather Herbert. In amazingly unfashionable haste they got married. After the very quiet wedding they decided to pay a surprise visit to Emily's family in America. They sent a telegram to warn her parents of their intentions and marital status, but received a reply telling them not to come, never darken our door, that sort of thing. Funnily enough, I mean strange, not funny, they had bought tickets to travel to New York on the Titanic, but managed to sell them at a good price. I say strange, because if they had gone I probably wouldn't be here. There you go. You might never have met me." "Good old Emily and Herbert. They sound interesting people. Definitely not drippy." "But isn't that strange, me feeling sad about Abigail, I mean? Mind you, I would have felt sorry for her anyway, I suppose. Ben warned us it would be a sad story, but it has a happier ending, I suppose, with their son's life, and all the way down to you." "Wow, I belong to the criminal classes." "I always thought there was something dodgy about you." "The editor wants to know if he can put my bit in the story. I wouldn't have thought it was that important, but I suppose it brings in a bit of present-day human interest." He looked at Susan. "I said I would ask you." "I don't mind. I'm not so bothered about avoiding publicity now. Lindsay and I are going to pack it in working for Zoldini. Yes, for 2 reasons. Firstly, don't worry, but I thought I missed my period this month. Something that's never happened to me before. But don't panic, false alarm. It made me think, though. First of all, I was thinking, oh my God, that's a bit quick. Then when it started again, I was a tiny bit sad. And then I thought if we were going to start a family, it's probably not a suitable career for a mum to be a magician's assistant. It's been good money, but I think it's time to pack it in now. I had a word with Lindsay this morning, and she said she was just about to tell me she had decided to sell her shop and business to the Jewish fashion king and move to Australia. Is Adam White going with her? I don't think so. She told me this morning she's changed her mind about him. What about the most wonderful professional man on earth, and she had to marry him? I hope you've begun to realise by now that Lindsay is somewhat changeable in her desires and intentions. No, that doesn't sound like your sister. Oh, she's not completely gone off him. She told me she still thinks he's wonderful, but he wouldn't suit her long term. Anyway, Zaldini will be furious, but he's paid us for the last stunt, so we are free to do what we want. Our contracts still prevent us talking about tricks, but that's not a problem. She sat on his lap and put her arms round his neck. So are you still interested in starting a family? In which case, what's your favourite word? Yes, of course, but we can stretch now a bit so we can see a bit of the world, have some fun. All right. We'll have a honeymoon while the architect draws up the plans for the new house. Then we'll come back, build the house, and then have a baby. OK, scary stuff. Very exciting. Wait a minute, honeymoon? Are we talking about getting married? Oh, I can't be bothered with all that now. We'll do that later and have the reception in our new home. I like it. So what about your other woman, Abigail? What are you going to say to your editor about going public with your dodgy relatives? I'm going to tell him no. He said he wouldn't mind and that it's not important. I just feel she needs a bit of respect from all this. Well, from me at least. Do you think I'm a bit soft? No, I don't. Do you? No. Good. I love you. You better had.